Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be me going through part of my CD collection. If you don't know anything about me or my channel, I've got over 9,000 CDs. Of this part of it, I want to do a special edition on Rock Candy Records reissues. I've got over 120 of their CDs. I just think the label does it right. They pick great artists. They do the packaging well. There's always a nice write-up on the band and good photos and that sort of stuff, and the sound quality is excellent. And the label itself and what they've chosen to release has introduced me to a whole host of artists I probably never would have discovered otherwise. And so I've dug out, this box here holds 90 of them. And you can see behind me over here, there's another 30 plus stacked right there. And we're going to jump into a bunch of these. But before we go any further, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. And if you enjoyed this video or you know someone that would, please share the video. Help get the word out for me on my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And as I always say, if you subscribe, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music. Just like this, where I'm going to be going through part of my CD collection, special edition, Rock Candy Records reissue. And I've decided I'm going to do 10%, which is 12 of these, because obviously I couldn't do 120 of them. And if this goes over well here, I'll do some more of these. But I've got a bunch of the classic bands like Rat, Winger, White Lion, Lita Ford, the Damn Yankees, Kix, Kansas, Blackfoot. So I've got those. We know those. But what I thought I'd do is I'd go through some of the lesser known bands, the ones that I've been turned on to. And we're going to kick things off with Airborne. This band here is produced by Keith Olsen, who's worked with Fleetwood Mac, Rick Springfield, Sammy Hagar, just to name a few. The band itself, comparable to Styx and Foreigner in that vein. The album came out in 1979, and it features Beau Hill on vocals, guitar, and keyboard. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because he later would go on to become a pretty famous producer working with Rat, Winger, and Warrant. And it's also got Mike Baird on drums, who's played with Billy Idol, Eddie Money, and he toured with Journey in 1986 for the Raised on Radio album itself. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at Brownsville. This one here, Air Special, 1978. The band was formerly Brownsville Station. They dropped the station, just became Brownsville. So Brownsville Station, most of you guys know Motley Crue and the hit Smokin' in the Boys Room. Well, Brownsville Station originally wrote that and recorded it back in 1973. And this album here is produced by Tom Werman, who worked with Cheap Trick, BOC, Blue Oyster Cult, Motley Crue, of course, which is perhaps how the track got brought to Motley Crue. Not sure exactly. I would say this album and the sound on this one is comparable to like Ted Nugent and Aerosmith. Cool thing, bassist Michael Lutz would later play with Ted Nugent on his Spirit of the Wild album in 1995. Turned out to be their last album, unfortunately, but there's a whole host of earlier Brownsville Station ones. So if you like Brownsville, check out all the Brownsville Station stuff as well. Okay, next one, Billy Satellite. Kind of an odd name for a band, but great AOR style rock. It features the original version of I Want to Go Back, which was later covered by Eddie Money, and then he had a super hit with it. And the band features Danny Chauncey on guitar, who would later go on to 38 Special. And it also features Monty Byron on vocals. Later would form the country band Big House. So not really in my wheelhouse of styles, but definitely worth checking out. He's a fantastic vocalist. And it's fair to say that this album itself is comparable to 38 Special and Eddie Money in that style, if you like those bands. All right, next one we're going to look at is, and I have to find it here, there we go, Cobra. Self-titled release from them, great AOR style here. Produced by Colonel Tom Ullum, who worked with Judas Priest, Loverboy, and Kix. This one here features Jimmy Jamison on vocals, who would go on to play with Survivor. The band before Cobra was called Target. We're going to talk about them later. Mandy Mayer is on guitars for this one here, and he's played with lots of bands, Asia, Crocus, Goddard, and Kathmandu. And Kathmandu's the late 80s, early 90s band that featured Dave King from Fastway. And Fastway is another band that Rock Candy Records has done some releases on as well. Okay, next one, Heaven's Edge, really great, a hard driving rock band in the sort of hairband glam metal style, Philadelphia based, along with other bands that are like Cinderella, Britney Fox, and Tangier. If you know those groups, you'll like this band here. Just great guitar work and really strong vocals. It was produced by Neil Kernon, who's worked with Dokken, Queensryche, and Autograph. And I'd say this band is very comparable. I hear a lot of Rat, Dokken, and Cinderella mixed into these guys here. Okay, next one up will be Lion. This one here, Dangerous Attraction, 1987. This one's new release out by Rock Candy Records and one of the latest ones that I've picked up here. It's their second album. They're an LA-based band, or were, hard rock, heavy metal, kind of in the vein of Dio and Keel. The cool thing, the band features 4 members that have come from other bands. So Cal Swan is on vocals, and he came from the new wave of British heavy metal band Titan. It's spelled Tytan. Doug Aldridge on guitar. We all know him. Dio, Whitesnake, Dead Daisies. Really great guitarist. Mark Edwards is on drums from Steeler, and Jerry Best is on bass, and he's played with Dio. All right, next one we're going to look at is Meridian, Lost in the Wild, 1989. This is a woulda, shoulda, coulda been huge band, glam metal, hair metal style, comparable to like Danger Danger, Winger, and Warrant. The vocalist, Chris Cade, absolutely impeccable vocalist, singer. Again, he himself should have been huge, the band should have been huge, and just really stunning guitar work from Jason Lane on this album here. It's always amazing what makes it and what doesn't make it. Next up, we got Jeff Paris, Wired Up, 1987 release for this guy, melodic rock in the AOR style, sort of like 80s Heart, but of course with male vocals. It's his second album, and it was produced by Tony Platt, and he's worked with AC/DC, Crocus, Foreigner. Now, the interesting thing is the band Vixen, the all-female band Vixen, would cover 2 of the songs that are on this album here, just proving its quality. Cryin', which was a huge hit for them, and the song Charmed Life. So if you want to hear, you like Vixen, you want to hear where those originally came from, check out this album here. It features, of course, Jeff Paris on guitar and vocals, but it also features Matt Sorum on drums from The Cult, and of course Guns N' Roses. Also features Gary Moon on bass, who would go on to front Night Ranger, and Michael Thompson on guitar has done a lot of session work with like Robin Beck and Richard Marx. Okay, next up I want to talk about a band called Strife, and sorry, just taking a second to find it here. This is actually their second album. I want to talk about their first one. 1975 debut album. They are a UK trio, and it's a mix of prog rock and hard rock all in one. So very similar to the band Gun, Three Man Army, or Baker Gurvitz's Army. You've heard me talk a lot about those guys. If you don't know them, look them up. They did record this one, the one I was showing you first. This is their follow-up album, came out in 1978, Back to Thunder. It's actually on Gall Records, which was the label that signed Judas Priest and did their first 2. Next one is Target. This one here, 1976, self-titled. They were actually discovered by Black Oak, Arkansas frontman Jim Dandy. Blues rock with a bit of southern flair to it. Definitely in the style of like Free and Bad Company. And the band itself features Jimmy Jamison before he went on to front Survivor. And of course, I mentioned him earlier with Cobra. So you got 2 early Jimmy Jamison projects through the Rock Candy Records label if you want to check them out. And the band itself did record a follow-up album. This one here came out in 1977 called Captured. So 2 great albums there. Okay, next one. This one is personally my favorite, probably out of all of these. If I would recommend you pick up anything out of these, check out Trillian, 1978. This one here blew me away. Debut album from the Chicago-based band, produced by Gary Lyons, who worked with Foreigner and Gamma. Pop rock very similar to Styx and Kansas, and it featured Dennis Fredrickson on vocals, but you'd know him better as Fergie Fredrickson, who would go on to front Toto, and also a group called Les Rock. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this band here, also on Rock Candy Records. This one's So Fired Up, check that out. So 2 releases again that he's featured on. But this album here is just stunning in my opinion, start to finish. Big pump, bombastic rock, like I said, in the vein of Styx. They did make one additional album called Clear Approach, but it's without Fergie Fredrickson, and it came out in 1980. All right, and the final one I want to talk about here, the 12th release of my 10% collection from Rock Candy Records, the debut album from Wild Horses. It's a supergroup of sorts. Now get this, it was produced by Trevor Rabin of Yes. So pretty cool already right there. But then we've got Jimmy Bain on bass and vocals coming from Rainbow and Dio. Brian Robertson on guitar and vocals from Thin Lizzy and Motorhead. Clive Edwards on drums from Thin Lizzy, UFO, and Rainbow. And Neil Carter on guitar, also of UFO and Gary Moore Band. So you can see the connection through UFO, Thin Lizzy, Rainbow, all those guys mixed in here on this. And the sound is easily ripped right out of Thin Lizzy. If you like Thin Lizzy's sound, check this out. And of course, with Jimmy Bain being in there, there's a lot in the Dio style as well. And they made one follow-up album that's equally as good as the debut. This one here, Stand Your Ground from 1981. Would highly, highly recommend it. All right, so there you go. 12 releases from the fantastic Rock Candy Records label. As I said, highly, highly recommend this label. Do check some stuff out on these guys. They have excellent taste in the music that they choose to release, and you can find some great hidden gems by these guys. All right, leave your comments, let me know your thoughts, and as I said, if you like this video, please share it, help get the word out. All that stuff really helps, and I'd appreciate it. Have a good day, everyone. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.